Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Dr. Doujinshi back at it again with another hentai review. The only series on the internet where it's not what's in your pants, it's what's in your heart. However many of them you happen to have. Now, on to this week's review. We are going to be finishing up our reviews of the series that has actually been doing pretty well when it comes to statistics. A lot of people have been enjoying this, and the comments seem to go along with that. Today we're going to be reviewing Futabu Mix, a odd one out, if you will, the ugly duckling. Futabu Mix is relevant for the fact that it's different, is because this really doesn't concern itself with the core cast of the main characters that were around in the original 4 episodes. And it's also done by a different studio that was animating the entire thing. And what studio could possibly do something that would piss off everybody? Why, Queen Bee, of course. Queen Bee is the animating team behind this one, and you can tell that they put love and effort into every second of animating these 3-bit graphics. These amazing GIFs, whatever the fuck. Just showing off that they can animate about 4 frames, and then they have to move on to another thing. Just beautiful. Running at 28 minutes and 9 seconds, holy fuck, that's a lot longer than the rest, with a total of 16 categories, notable tags of which are dark skin, maid, and futa, respectively. And you're probably wondering why maid is in there. Well, that's for a specific reason. Also, you're probably wondering why dark skin is in there. Is that because of the recurring character, or is it possibly the return of the female character from the 4th episode, Ellen? No. Fuck you. Starting out, it starts with the core main characters of it doing an annual size measuring system. I hear the layman's referring to it as a dick measuring contest. So let's go ahead and call it that. All the characters continue to measure themselves, length, width, and size overall, continuing down each one until it eventually gets to the actual proof of what they can use their item for. Pretty much seeing how much of a cup somebody can fill up if they are given some time. In which case, that leads its way into them practicing on the one girl that is not a futanari in this entire thing. Leading from 5 minutes and 30 seconds of the first scene to 9 minutes and 15 seconds. A good chunk overall, but nothing special. It then cuts over to a new character that we've never seen, who then wakes up and goes down on herself immediately. With not very long, about 30 seconds, from 10 minutes in to 10 minutes and 30 seconds in. Scene 2, not really living up to the size of the next one, but that's well and good. It then shows the character going to school, meeting up with her friends, and introducing us to the senpai she totally has heard about. She then realizes, oh, one of the fictional rules of Futa is this thing always needs to be working all the time. So she goes behind a building and just kind of works on herself from there, in which case she's interrupted by Senpai Supreme, who has just happened to be told about. Leading to a new scene that goes from 12 minutes and 40 seconds to 14 minutes and 35 seconds. 2 minutes, 5 seconds, not very bad. And overall, it then cuts over to another scene of a rich girl with a piece down below the waist. You know what's going on. Pretty much every time they introduce a new girl, assume there's a dick. And afterwards, it kind of leads into her with all her maids. Her maids start cleaning her, because apparently if you're rich, you're a dick, and you have to just have a sponge bath every time. And then it leads into a scene that I wouldn't count necessarily towards a scene, but it is a prerequisite to it. It's the whole, like, naked person getting everything scrubbed and having, like, weird moans during it. I didn't count it as a scene, but it does lead into scene number 4, which is between a specific maid that was pointed out by the rich girl and the rich girl herself, leading from scene 4 of 17 minutes and 25 seconds in to 20 minutes and 10 seconds. We're almost at the end. And finally moving on to it cutting to another scene. Oh, I just love this 4 episodes that built up these characters so much, only for them to appear in the first 10 minutes of the final episode. Queen Bee, you fuckfaces, you've done messed up. Unless this was in the original doujin for it, and then I guess that's a shitty way to end a series, but we can always just pretend this one doesn't exist, because the thumbnail for it is wildly different than the rest. It then cuts over to the final time they switch over, where there's 2 girls. One, like I said before, assumed Futa, and the other one actually a regular female, who doesn't have anything special below the waist. On their way to a medical checkup. One decides to go one way, the other decides to go the other way. We're following the Futa along her path. They can go to a basic standard checkup. Let me flip the pages. In which case, it leads to scene 5 of the character trying to show, oh, how you've grown so much. What are your emissions like nowadays? Also, we're going to test whether or not you can work properly when not using your hand. And here's this random girl we found, in which case it was the friend that split up in the first fucking second. Leading from scene 5 of 23 minutes and 35, either 15 or 35, right, to 25 minutes and 50 seconds. I have shitty handwriting, and sometimes I can't even read it. Of which case, it then ends there. It just ends. It's the doctor saying like, oh, maybe I should have done an actual checkup. Nice to know you admit you have gross negligence when it comes to this sort of thing. I wonder how that's going to go on your medical exam, or at least a review from your, I don't know, higher-ups? You're in a school, by the way. Hey, people in schools don't exactly get away with a lot. But, as we are nearing the end of it, let's go ahead and slip on into the intro. Or, well, not intro, more like the last time you'll see this review screen for this series. So, let's go ahead and cut to that low-budget review screen. Thank you very much. Now, on to animation. Queen Bee. What would you expect? I gave it a 3 out of 10 because of how long the episode was and how many different types of animation they fit in there. If you ever want to rate animation for hentai, rate it as if you would a lower class anime and be like, oh, this is pretty bad animation, so that's pretty standard for hentai since they really don't have a lot of budget. But Queen Bee, you have to take that scale and cut it into thirds. Whatever you would have gave it, just thirds. If this would have been done right, the animation would have been, I don't know where I was going with this. 3 out of 10, Queen Bee. It's only good because it's long. Well, that's the only reason it's not 1 out of 10. And now the characters. Numerous, but shallow. They kind of fit into since they're trying to shove as much as they can into one last episode, there really isn't a lot to go along with any of it, and it kind of just puts a whole bunch of these characters into basic porno archetypes. Oh, rich girl wants to get with the maid. Oh, going to a doctor. Checkups, I wonder how they go. Oh no, there's the hot girl at school. I wonder what I'll do. That sort of shit. But they just spice it up by having these sorts of things. And the characters really don't get a lot, but they're there for their reason, if only the animation didn't fuck them over. 5 out of 10. And for characters. And now what we're all really here for. The plot. I'd like to say the tags on this are mostly cosmetic. A lot of the times the characters show up, they're really not all that interesting. or a lot of times the tags do pop up, they're really not around very long. Like, oh, like I said before, maid. Well, that's really only there for cosmetics. All the sex scenes are pretty similar. There's really not a lot to it, and it's just hard to watch. When it comes to like, oh, I was here for this tag, I clicked on it for this reason. Well, you're only really going to be there for a missionary-style sex scene between two futas, and that's really not what we're here for. We're here for what the tag actually said. If you're here for a dark-skinned character, you're not here for, like, 15 seconds of a mention of that character. The same way, oh, you have a thing for maids. Well, you're not here for, like, a 2-minute scene of that maid, in which case it's a missionary sex position. You're looking for something a little bit more. I wouldn't say it's bad, because missionary, like vanilla, always had its place. But then again, it's not great. I'm going to give it a 5 out of 10. Middle across the board, serviceable, but you wouldn't put it on any list. 5 out of 10 for the plot of the entire episode. And I'd like to average these all up and divide them. 5 plus 5 plus 3 equals 13. 13 divided by 3 is 4.3 repeating, and we always round down if the number is low enough, or we round up. Pretty much we round to whatever we feel like. And this one is going to middle out at around a 4 out of 10. 4 out of 10 for the final episode. It would have been so much better if they would have stuck with the series as it was with the same type of animation. I wouldn't have even minded if they had switched all the characters around, but I did have a problem with them switching the animation style. This could have been a great send-off, where they decided to shotgun out and show you all these different other characters. But, like a lot of recent video game series, instead of going out with a bang, they go out with a fart. Now, on to the final bit, on to the last bit. Thank you to everybody who's been around this entire time. I love doing this job, and I love putting it off until 1 in the fucking morning when I know I should be asleep. So, subscribe if you want to. I'm always here, and I'm going to be doing these videos for a long-ass time. There's a lot on that website, and I do plan on doing a lot more. So, until next time, I've been the Doctor. Have a nice day. Don't be a dick, there's too many of them. And wash your fucking hands. I've been the Doctor. Peace.